Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura-Rozen. I'm so excited that you're joining me here, either watching or listening. And one of my favorite things in the world to do as co-founder of Everyday Woman TV is showcase women that are making such a great difference in the world. And really, they embody the word women empowerment. Today, I'm excited to have with me Rachel McCord. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And hi, everybody.
I'm so excited. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of your bio. I know it's not going to do you justice, but just a little bit so people can get an idea of who you are. And then we'll make sure that you share more as we talk. And I'm also excited about our topic today, which is process and scalability, which is perfect for our audience of women entrepreneurs. Well, here we go. Rachel McCord is a celebrity entrepreneur, best-selling author, Amazon Live producer, which she'll share a little bit more with us, and TV host. One of the things that I absolutely love about Rachel is she really is known as a supermodel turned super mogul. And one of the things that we talked about is where she came from, and how she has spent so much time in her life really having to learn about the positive mindset, which is perfect for this show. So I'm excited about that. She has 9 companies to date. This could be old, that she might already have 10 at this point. If you know us serial entrepreneurs, we tend to keep adding more. They include leading a successful exit in her 20s from a very successful company, as well as she's a major inspiration to millions. Now, make sure you check out her social media. She makes sure to spend a lot of time on there, putting out positive information in videos so you can learn from her. We're going to learn a little bit more about a few of her companies, which is Launchpreneur and the ops team. I know we could talk all day about your businesses, but we're going to try to focus on a few today. So Rachel, please share a little bit more about those businesses with the ladies that are watching.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. You know, I have had such a wild journey in entrepreneurship. You know, I started working when I was 13. I told my boss at the time, I want to learn everything I can about business. I grew up really humble beginnings in Georgia, and I knew I didn't have money to do traditional education and do all the things. I didn't even understand the concept of a student loan. So I was like, I just want to get an amazing experience track record with different companies, just learning how they work. And so I got into management by the time I was 16, moved into big corporate companies, and I just always tried to climb. And it was so interesting because, you know, I talk a lot in my business about the difference in pulling and pushing, right? So a lot of times when we start our careers, we're pushing. We're really trying to prove ourselves. We really want the validation. We're trying to keep up the legacy of a successful family before us, or we're trying to prove that we're not where we were and we can be somewhere else, right? So we're pushing. And I think there's a really pinnacle point in our lives where we say, you know what? I think it's time for me to do a purpose-driven life that is pulling me into something more important. And that's really what happened when I started Launchpreneur and the ops team with my husband, Rick. My husband has launched every viral marketing campaign from Harry Potter, The Hobbit, Chronicles of Narnia, Whole Foods, Walmart, Procter & Gamble, you name it, right? He is the pioneer of influencer marketing back in 2002, before social media existed. Rick Shermer existed, and he was crushing viral campaigns. Actually, one of the biggest viral campaigns of all time was Passion of the Christ. And it was his strategy that turned that into a viral success. And that really just kind of snowballed the rest of his career. So when I met him and I was like, you're such a visionary. I love you so much. I'm the process girl. Like I can come up with a good idea every now and then, but Rick can't help himself. It's like breakfast, lunch, dinner, like pillow talk is business talk all the time. And so I was just so inspired working with him. And you know, obviously, like, we have so much fun. We've actually created a little baby, which is our favorite launch of
I
late.
know. Congratulations. How old is the baby now?
He'll be 2 in May. So
yeah, that's so much fun.
So precious. So, you know, we've had so much fun. And I said, you know, there's so many female entrepreneurs like myself who might have that one idea or maybe have 10 ideas, but they're so passionate and they really want to make something huge and make something better for themselves, for their children. They want to have a legacy to leave. They want to have money to leave behind. That was something that was really important to me. I wanted to make sure that I could build something and get a compound interest account for my son before he was 5 so that I could have something growing for him. And so Launchpreneur is all based on launching entrepreneurs, Launchpreneur. And the heartbeat of it is, how do we give the strategy that it takes for these people to be successful? And we work with so many different companies and brands, from celebrities and very influential people in media, all the way through, you're talking, businesses that you've heard of and I can't talk about, and they just want to rethink their strategies. So our accelerators that we do, either one-to-ones or group accelerators, are focused on taking everything out, everything that you know and believe about your business and you believe is so successful or not successful. We just dump it all out on the table and we kind of just like break all the walls down. And then brick by brick, piece by piece, we start putting it back together in a way that is designed for scale. So it all starts with process, but the process is imperative to get to scale. So we get through all of that and we put a whole strategy plan. We give them a presentation deck. Here are your competitors. Here are your core values, your brand attributes, all the little pieces that a lot of us know, but we just don't always know how to flesh it out. I had one of my clients say, "This is $1 million session." Like I'm so glad it didn't cost me $1 million, but this is the difference in where I am and me hitting my goal to be a millionaire by the age of 35. And it's so exciting to be a part of those journeys and part of those stories because, we've worked with so many massive brands along our career. And if we hadn't built our companies to be as large as they are now, as scaled as they are now, and have so many amazing people in our team, that we've moved from working inside our business to working on our business and being able to look at our team and say, "Hey, keep me informed, but I trust you." That's a huge piece. And that's a huge move in your business. And once we got there, I was like, "Rick, you know how I roll. I'm bored. I want to help other people." So we took all the formulas, all the principles that have been working for us, and we've spun them around and said, okay, how can we help these other amazing entrepreneurs scale? So we get this whole presentation deck, right? We get this whole strategy session and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then what happens next? What we started identifying was a lot of that momentum kind of fell off, right? It was like a hockey stick, up, 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 up. But then it's like, what happened? Boom. Because a lot of them felt, I believe in this. I know this is what I need, but I don't have the bandwidth to do it. And I cannot afford to hire someone at the level of strategy that I need so I can truly throw them a ball. Who has been there, right? You have a company, you're working really hard and you're like, I need a social media person because I'm so busy. So then you get over here with the social media side, right? And you're like, okay, I'm good. Here it is. And then you're like, oh, but I have to babysit this every step of the way. So what we actually did was we built a full team, and we have designers, copywriters, copy editors, website developers. We have customer service support, e-commerce support. That's really important. Customer service and e-commerce support for your reviews and making sure that you're dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's. So we put together this whole team, and it's all led by our strategists, by our incredible strategist and project manager. So all that strategy that gets built up with that momentum and that accelerator gets passed on to him and his team. And, you're paying such affordable fees that you would pay someone at the very starting point of their career. But our team has been working with us for so long, and we found so many amazing ways to work with them that we can keep it so affordable for entrepreneurs to where they can accelerate their businesses and still be able to pay their bills and pay their rent and continue to grow. So that's really the process for us.
I love that.
It comes
I love that. Yeah, well, one of the things that we started talking about before we jumped on, because of course we talked just as long off camera than we did that we're going to on, was that you really saw the need for the everyday woman, which I love that you use that, because obviously that's our brand. And that you saw that, wait, a lot of these women, and we experience this every day, that they show up, they have this great idea, and they're brilliant. These are brilliant women, and they're very passionate about what they do, and they really want to be a difference in the world, but where the heck do I start? And Rachel, one of the things that's really big for everyday women is you've got to be seen, you've got to be heard to get more clients. That's pretty much our tagline. And everything that your companies do are really bread and butter that, because I always say, if somebody doesn't know who you are, first of all, how are you going to make a living, right? A lot of these women are just really wanting to make a living. And second of all, how are they going to work from you or buy your product? So I think that's one of my favorite things about all the things that you're doing, is because you see these different levels and you recognize from a top brand like Harry Potter, and also someone that's just starting out and going, I have no clue where to start. So I love that. What I want to do is I want to give the women some tips. We talked about process and scalability. So let's give them some things that they're just getting started, or maybe their business has been around for a little bit, but it's still not reaching the levels that they would prefer. Where could they start? And of course, to reach out to you to learn more about what you do, but what could they do for the scalability and for the process of their business?
Absolutely. So I have 4 tips. Number one is you want to go back to the drawing board, right? Do an internal accelerator, what we do with our clients. Go back and say, okay, I'm going to create a presentation deck, and
Okay.
I'm going to think about someone from the outside. What are all the things they need to know about me and my business? They need to know where I come from, all of my accolades, what makes me successful, and what makes me a trustworthy entrepreneur. They need to know my competitor. They need to know my customer. They need to know where that customer is. And when you're doing all of this, things start to click, right? And it's really helpful if you have anyone in your life, whether it's us with Entrepreneur, whether it's a friend listening to this show, you identify new people to put into your network. You can really get some support in this area, because people are going to ask questions that to you might feel like, oh yeah, that's obvious. No, I say everything needs to be dummy proof. That is the basis for
Yes.
all of your process, all of your scale. Everything has to be dummy proof. So if one person could not pick up that presentation deck, swipe through it, and fully understand what your business is, who you serve, how it works, what your financials look like as far as hard costs versus profitability, then we're not finished. We just got to keep pounding, keep going. That presentation deck is so important, because it can communicate to anybody and everyone who you hire. And let's be honest, we want to build a successful business. We need to have a team. So that's step 2. You need to find the areas in your business that are lacking. And you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So if there's an area in your life, in your business, that you're like, that is just not my spot. I'm really good at marketing, but I suck at financials. I'm really good at financials, but I suck at social media. Whatever it is, map it out, strengths and weaknesses, because you've got to cover your 6. You've got to have someone over here who's supporting you over there. It's so important, because otherwise a company is going to be lopsided, right? It's building on this side, but it's not building on the other. And the
Yes.
truth is we're busy human beings, right? In
Yep.
addition to work, we need to prioritize our faith, our family, our values, our future. Like, what do we want to do? What does our self-care look like? Are we taking time to meditate, right? So there's all these pieces. If we try to swallow up every piece of our business, we're going to fall apart. So we have
Well,
to be.
you also aren't going to be successful. You reach a plateau and you end. I know when I started my first business, I was also quite young. I was 24. When you called and asked for HR, you got me. When you called and asked for marketing, you got me. I did everything, and which, by the way, is very common at the beginning, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, to scale, which is really what you're talking about, you need to recognize you're only one person. And one of the things I like to talk about a lot myself, Rachel, is the fact that some people use the idea, well, I can't afford it. And I say, well, let me tell you why you can afford it. If you're paying an assistant $30 an hour and you're making $500 an hour, how much money did you just leave on the table because you wrote that email? And one of the things I really love about your companies, especially Launchpreneur and also the ops team, is that they put together teams already for you. So you don't have to go out there and put those teams together. And when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes it's a lot of work to run a team. So those that are listening and watching, you can't afford not to, because look, I always say, if you're happy where you are, good for you. Congratulations. But I know that Rachel and I are the kind of entrepreneurs that we're constantly wanting to scale and get bigger and grow. And even one day, which Rachel's already done, have an exit strategy to sell your business. So you might want to think about that day that you want to retire. Some of us will never retire, but we love what we do. But that one day you want to retire is, wait, did I build something that has value? So I love that you talked about that, the first 2 tips. Now, did we get to the third one? I don't think we did.
You're actually right on top of it. So the third tip is making sure that you've built in a cloud platform with
Okay.
all of your information that you need, all of your presentations, the one you're going to create in tip one. But the reason for this is because this is how you really have that team. This is how you have that assistant who costs $30 an hour. And by the way, I will tell you, we're actually less expensive than that, which is crazy.
I know. I was just using it as an example.
No, I love that you said that, because that
Yeah.
that the fact that you said that is like, that is what we are with the ops team. It's like, how do we keep it less than a starting employee so that we can actually really launch it? So making sure that you have all of your assets in a cloud so that you can scale, so that you can toss a link to a file that has your entire world in it. And I know that's a little scary for some of us. So you can create departments, you can have your financials and your admin, you can have your execution over here, your sales over here, but you've got to empower and entrust someone. And the way that you do that best to empower them is by giving them the tools that they need. So that's all in the cloud. I use Google Drive. It's my favorite, but
mine too. Live and breathe it.
You could choose anything. And the last one, number 4, is have a really stellar project management tool platform.
Okay.
So I use ClickUp as our project management tool, and all of our clients are on it. All of our team.
Can you share the name of it again?
It's called ClickUp. And it really helps you prioritize with due dates, assign part of your team, and you might be your team, right? And then you might bring in the ops team, and suddenly your team just grew. And then you might bring in more people, and it grows. And the power in that is that if you know who is championing this task, when is it due, and what is the context and the big goal for the outcome, you're done. You're set. It's going to happen. And that's the difference in something being a dream and it being a task. And I like to move things from what is the dream to what is the task and what's the goal.
Right. Or the I wish. I call it the dream to reality, or the I wish, right? How many people say I wish? And I say, so a few years ago, because of my first book, which that's how I met you, the show's named after it, The Successful Woman's Mindset, I found going to these women's conferences that women wanted reminders on how amazing they were. So I, out of nowhere, I went and created a jewelry line of inspirational jewelry. And they have 5 chapters of my book. The reason I'm bringing this up is because someone reached out to me and I did a pre-sale, and they came in, they bought 6 bracelets. I literally just didn't even have a website up. And he was buying them for his wife. And he said, how do you do it? I said, what do you mean? He goes, 6 weeks ago, you put online that you were going to have an inspirational jewelry line. And now I'm sitting here and I'm purchasing bracelets from you. So what Rachel's talking about is so many of us have this I wish or I dream, and we don't ever take the steps. And look, everybody listening, Rachel just gave you 4 steps. So please do me a favor, rewind the show, because you can. And you can pause it and you can listen to it again and you can write it down. She just got done telling you the caliber of clients that she works with and how they make brands go viral. So she just gave you 4 tips that you would have to have a private session with her to learn. Now, don't get me wrong. She does have one of her companies that is more reasonable, like we discussed, for the everyday woman. But I'm just sharing with you how valuable these tips are. And as someone that's been in business for myself for 25 years, I'm telling you, take these 4 tips and implement them immediately into your business, because they're so practical, but most people don't know to do that. And I love that you shared that, Rachel. I would love it if you shared with everybody a little bit more about where they can learn more about your businesses, how they can get a hold of you if they want to learn more about working with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. I would just encourage you, do the first stab at that presentation and email it over to me. My team helps me with my email so we can stay on track of everything. It's super easy. It's just Rachel@rachelmccord.com. So very easy. Send me a note. Let me know where you're at with your business and what's going on. I mean, we have so many different things that are modeled for the everyday woman and also for the everyday budget, right? Because we're always in that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And so let's just see where you're at. And, you know, some of our clients come to us and like, please do everything. I don't want to look at this. Just give me results.
Which is okay.
You know,
which is okay. They want to focus on what they do best, which might be coaching or might be whatever it might be. And you're like, hey, go do what you do best. Let us worry about the rest. I love that. I could not imagine not having the teams that I have. And I have set teams for each business. And I'm so thankful because they make me as good as I am. And I know that you are very good at putting together successful teams as well, which is so important. What are some of the websites that they can go to learn more as well?
Yes, so I think our main the main one to check out is Launchpreneur, which is just Launchpreneur, like an entrepreneur. And I know it's on the thumbnail of the show, so you guys can see that.
Yeah.
But also, if you literally go to viralbrand.com, that's one of our marketing campaigns. But truly, like, just send us an email and let us know where you're at. Would love to support you. And you know, we definitely have a big heart for the startingpreneurs and helping them find their way. So thank you all so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me on the show. It's such an honor. And I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come with you guys. I love all the shows. I love this platform. I love what you're doing. And I think it's going to be really, really huge. So I can't wait to follow.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have to share before we go, because we've already gone over, but I don't care because it's my show. I have to share with the women that are watching how important building relationships are and how staying with relationships are. Rachel and I met a little over 3 years ago. I had the pleasure and the opportunity to give my book out to stars and celebrities, The Successful Woman's Mindset, at an Oscar pre-suite. And Rachel came by, and I want to share this story because of you as well. First of all, I was so blessed because everyone that came by was so appreciative, so thankful, and so wonderful. And sometimes you get nervous about those things because I've never done anything like that before. But Rachel took extra time. She talked to me. She did an Instagram live. She did a story. She wanted to talk to me some more about my book. And then we reconnected after that on social media. She responded to my messages. And I'm sharing with you that as women, because my show really is a platform for women. And if men are watching, thank you. But for women, is that no matter what level we get to in our career, we are mostly women that are humble, and we are mostly women that just want to support other women. So Rachel is someone like that for me. She has a great book. I know it's been a while, but I loved your book. I read it. And
I would do too.
Yeah, thank you. And it's just really fun. So ladies, those that are listening and watching, I want you to be aware, excuse me, I want you to be aware of the people that you meet and the ones that really connect with you. And take the time to reach out to them. Take the time to comment on their social media posts. Take the time to offer them any kind of connections that you can that could benefit them out of the goodness of your heart, with never expecting anything in return, because it always comes back. It always does. I reached out to Rachel. She didn't even hesitate to say, yes, I'll be on your show. So thank you for that. I'm excited to continue the conversation with you, Rachel. There's a lot of synergy with your companies that could benefit us as well. I'd love to check that out and see where we can go. And for everybody that's watching and listening, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting Everyday Woman TV and the Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura-Rozen, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.